All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about the background music. Our executive producer is not around with us, but we are excited to be here. I am Roger Daly. I am your host. I'm here with Dr. Joanne Bryan, our co hostess, and Dr. John L. Sampson, our co host, right? Just saying hello and good afternoon to each and every one of you, and welcome to the village. Hey, Dr. Bryan, how you doing today?
Good evening. Doing great, doing great. It stopped raining.
Wait,
So
hold on.
listen,
I-
I'm
I-
excited
Is,
whenever it
is,
stops
is,
raining.
is that an excitement that I hear? Is that we hear, John, in our voice? Is that right?
That is true excitement, Dr. Bryant.
That is true
Listen,
excitement. You know.
yes, I'm
Yes.
tired of the rain for
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. It did stop raining. It rained for what, 48 hours, right? 48 hours.
It's supposed to come back again.
Yeah. So, John, how you doing?
Rain, rain, come again, come again, come again. I
Yeah.
am blessed and highly favored. Any day we are above ground is a great day. We
Mm-hmm.
can
Amen.
complain and we can moan and we can talk about what we don't have, what we need, but just be thankful for what we have.
Yeah. Yeah. I am. I. Oh, exciting news! I get to go home at least for 1 week tomorrow.
Yay!
Yeah, tomorrow. But then you know what is exciting, but in one breath is exciting, but for yesterday I was supposed to go home for a day, for a week. Uh, to today I was supposed to go home. Yes, tomorrow I'm supposed to go home, but it seems like when the powers that be came in today to tell me I was going home, it seemed
Official?
incredible, more official, because the doctors came in and they're like, Mr. Daly, you're going home, right? And so I'm like, I'm waiting on the bone marrow, right? I'm waiting on the bone marrow to see where we are, in terms of, um, in terms of what's my next step. So, but I go home for 1 week either way.
Look, you have some great messages.
Mm-hmm.
Brother,
John, yes,
there's
John,
no
that's true.
testimony without a test, so you just keep on keeping on. That's all
Right?
we can say.
Yeah, John, it's a good point that we missed you last week. You didn't feel well. So, how you feeling this?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I feel better this week, but I've been sick twice this year. So I
Mm,
tell all the villagers, your health is your wealth.
that's
Really
true.
take care of yourself. And we are not invincible. So take your vitamins, do what you got to do, eat right, get that rest, which I don't get rest like I
Mm.
should. But
Surprise,
I'm
surprise.
just, what are you saying, Dr. Bryant?
Not saying nothing.
I'm wondering the same thing, John. Yeah, I actually, you know what? I agree with Dr. Bryant. You be up like at 8:30 in the morning.
Eight
8:30 in
thirty.
the morning.
I mean,
8:30 in the
Please.
I
morning.
mean 5:30 in the morning.
I'm in
You
the
know,
gym at 5, man.
yeah,
I'm up at
exactly.
4:30. But yeah, when your body's talking to you,
Yeah,
listen
Gotta
to it.
listen. Yep, yep, yep,
you
yep.
know,
But Roderick,
yeah,
your message on the awesome, your nurse is a phone call away.
yes.
Here's
Thank you.
another message for you. Mask, please. So when you leave the hospital, mask up.
Yeah, I
Yes,
will.
that's very
Um,
important.
uh,
Those germs are floating all around.
yeah, I'm hearing I'm learning, being in the hospital. I'm learning all these new terms:
Mm-hmm.
neutrophil, immunodeficient. All of
Mm-hmm.
these different damn. Uh, Denise, the one thing I don't want is rest.
No, I think that message was for John.
No, no, the message was for me. That I
Oh,
need to
okay,
get rest.
okay.
But the one thing I
Okay.
don't need is rest.
Oh, you
I
get
need to go.
plenty of
I,
that.
I need. I need to go to bed at
Good
night.
evening.
All right. I can't be staying up late. But hey Ria, how you doing? Um, right. Thank you for the messages. But the rest is one thing, because boy, today people were like, "Is everything okay with you?" Because I said, you know what? I need to take a nap. And so I literally went and I took a nap. I took a nap during the
Hold
middle of
on, hold on, hold on, Roger.
yeah.
Don't be like Sleepy Joe now.
Oh, No, 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 no. Well, Sleepy Joe might need to take a nap during the day. Right. He definitely might need to take a nap. Right.
No, I think I think it's going to be interesting tonight. Just to digress for one
Yeah.
second,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know, oh, we'll get into it. We'll get into it. We'll get into it.
I was thinking that we need to end a little bit early, like maybe 8:45, 8:50.
I'm for it.
Yeah.
So that people can get a chance to watch the State of the Union, see
Mhm.
what's going on with
Now listen to Donald Trump's play-by-play.
yeah, because Donald Trump is going
My
to give us a
brothers and sisters, my villagers, we have a repeat of 2020 again.
Yes, we do. So
You know,
why hasn't so John, in your purview, why? Well, it's the same thing in 2020 when greetings, Ija, and
Did you
welcome
see
back
this
from your
last
birthday trip.
message?
Mhm.
Rudy, you're going to Trinidad Carnival next year. Let's go.
Yes,
go.
5
Let's
a.m.
go.
gym time. I'm here now.
yeah,
Hey, crew, I just got to step off for a second. I'll be right back.
Okay.
right. Well, I'll leave that question up until John comes back. But I'm laughing
Why you
because
laughing?
I'm like Nikki Haley is clearly not going to win the Republican.
She actually bailed out. Remember that?
When
she
did she
said-
bail out?
Yesterday.
Oh,
See, you were taking that nap.
yeah, probably was taking a nap.
So now our president is trying to attract
Hmm.
her followers.
Biden.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. You know, I keep telling people that both candidates.
Look.
I think
I
Joe Biden.
love Empress. You travel the world and we love you.
Yeah, Empress, like Cartagena, Colombia, right? So she was there for a little bit. I was thinking that
Welcome
Biden has a little bit more of a base than Donald Trump.
Really?
Right.
Why do you say so?
Because there are more Democratic registered voters in the country.
So here's the problem. That's great. I was listening this evening to some Democrats from ATL that mentioned that this year if he doesn't take a stance on Gaza, they will not vote.
And I brought this up already, and I'm bringing it up again.
Right.
And I'm going to say to all of my Democratic people out there who are nationwide, who are not just in New York, because Biden is going to win New York. The Republican stance on Israel is the same stance as the Democrat. Right? Right? And whereas we might take a stance on Gaza and say that he needs to take a stance on Gaza, the Republicans will. That's why you see, like, what we have to understand is when the Republicans are laying silent, we have not heard a single Republican person, Donald Trump. As a matter of fact, Donald Trump hasn't said anything, but he just has a following, but he has not said anything at all.
Mm-hmm. He won't say anything.
Not a single Republican has made a statement about the United States and how they should stand in Israel other than supporting Israel.
Mm-hmm.
So by not voting for a Democrat on that premise, the Republicans are not making a statement any differently.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? So which Republican did you hear get up and say, hey, we need to do better in Gaza and provide? I mean, have you heard one? There are 50 Republicans in the Senate, right? There are 50 Republicans in the Senate.
And all that. And they're going to have a guy in who
there are 200, John, your background, right? There are 218, I think, approximately 218 Democrats in the House. Not the House, the Republicans in the House. None of the two, there's not a single one. That's 218 or 19. I don't remember the exact number. John might know the exact number. Right? John might know the exact number. Right? And nobody, right? Nobody has nobody,
Taking a
not
stance.
a Republican,
Mhm.
has taken a stand on
The war.
on the war, and not a single one has stated we're not for Israel.
Donald Trump would go and support Israel because remember his son-in-law. He was all about supporting his son-in-law.
That may be true, but at the end, but at the end, okay. So the House Republicans have 221 votes, right? So and the Democrats have 213, right? So not one of the 221 Republicans have gotten the Gaza situation. So for us Democrats to for us Democrats, or for Democrats, not for us Democrats, but for Democrats to get up and say, "Oh, I'm not going to support Biden," it's a poor reflection, because the Republicans support Israel even more than the Democrats. I understand that what the Democrats are trying to say, that they need to do better in the Gaza, and they do.
You know, Roderick. You know what? Let me just tell them. You know what? You know what? Those who want to vote uncommitted, those who don't want to, just because Biden. You know what? But no, it's not stupid. I mean, that's what people's beliefs and that's what their convictions are in. But at the same time, you know what? Donald Trump is going to do far worse. And if you wanted that to happen, then so be it. Then I mean, at some point in time, we have to. Everybody talks about the lesser of two evils. Let's use our common sense. This guy wants a Muslim ban, you know, and under him, you would have been banned. They would have had the Muslim ban. So you know what President Biden is talking about ceasefire in Gaza. He's telling Israel to, let's see if we can get a ceasefire. Let's see if we can get the hostages. There is negotiation. There is an attempt to do it. Under Donald Trump, there would have been he said, just annihilate them. So, I mean, come to your senses, people. Come to your senses. If you want Donald Trump to be elected, vote for him or don't vote at all. So when it happens, please don't say anything when it happens like that.
Yeah, but my argument, and I said it last week, John, when you weren't here, is uncommitted would be a very strong thing if there was a Republican component to uncommitted. But if it's only a Democratic component to uncommitted, it makes no sense. It absolutely.
And that just shows you that, and that's why if you look at it, and that's why Trump is even in the game, because the enthusiasm and the support of his people. If there was anyone else who had those indictments or facing the same situations, they wouldn't have been able to get even in the primary or even. But his support is so firm, steady, and strong. We as Democrats, we waver at the bit, any bit of controversy, any issue, we are getting ready to waver. We waver. We say, step out. You don't need to run. We have no backbone. Democrats, we don't have a backbone.
You see,
we worry so much about what people say and what the perception is. If you know who you are, you're doing the best and you're doing good for the people will reward you. They will reward you because they will remember the things that you did. If the positive outweigh the negative, let's move forward. But it's just very frustrating.
John, bring up Rhea's next comment, which says, "I agree, John. The fact of the matter is, you have to look at the race. Is only a two-person race. Is a Democratic race and a Republican race. Mm-hmm. I agree that as Democrats, we should look Democrats should look at Gaza and create opportunities to cease fire and save people. That is 100% correct. But you have to look at the other side. The other side of the equation says that the Republican Party is not for Gaza. So if you're saying I'm not going to vote for Biden, who's trying to work something out, right? Who is trying to work something out? They say, okay, I'm going to move you from office if you don't work something out. You're going to put in the party that says I am not going to work something out, and you didn't vote for me anyway, so I don't care. But people don't understand. And John, you were an elected official, and you were at at one of the highest levels in office. I tell people all the time, elected officials don't listen to non-voters. They listen, but they really don't listen because you don't vote. The only thing that makes me elected is vote. So you could talk all you want. So on the Republican side, if you're not voting for me, I don't give a shit what the hell you say. I don't care because you're not voting for me.
That's why, and just to even think about, blacks. You hear about. I listen to Fox. It's always interesting to listen to Fox.
I listen. Yeah, I try to listen to Fox.
And it's interesting the way they talk about, the black vote. What's the black vote? What do we expect from the black vote? But all the issues that really impact the black vote, Voting Rights Act, and things of that nature, the Republicans don't want to support.
And they're not going to.
And
they're not going to support.
Right.
They're not going to give you additional ballot access. They don't want to.
They're going to do.
And we're just too busy. You know what? You're going to support a party that historically will undermine everything, every sort of policy that you want to implement for your people. Or you're going to support an organization or Democrats who are at least open-minded to listen. These guys are not open-minded. And it's not, let me tell you something. It's not so much, honestly, I have to be very honest. Donald Trump would be open. He would be open. He would listen to you. He would have a conversation with you. It's the people Donald Trump surrounds himself with that are so close-minded and will talk him not to give you that opportunity. And you got the Stephen Millers, you got the Bannons, you got the Tim Cruz, you got the Sean Hannitys, you have Jesse Waters, you have Greg Football. All of these individuals, it's unfortunately all believe in that nativism. Mm-hmm. You know what? We were here first. You have to take care of us first before you take care of anybody else. Great. It's just astonishing. And we just fall. You know what it is? Donald Trump has a purpose. His purpose is to distract us from what is important. And we fall for the okie doke all the time. Ignore the man. Ignore him. He is a non-entity. We have made Donald Trump into who he is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. By the commercial, by speaking about him nonstop, by giving him attention. So we mentioned that I think the last week. We need to move on. There's more happening around than just Donald Trump. He wants his name to be called every day, throughout every hour.
Joanne, every week. But listen, every week that you say that every week, right? You say that every week. But you have to understand that right now, this is 2024. Mm-hmm. The thing that consumes the media in all
Donald Trump
is the election. Mm-hmm. So you are one of those persons who have already made up your mind where you're going to vote.
Nope, you can't say that.
No, I'm saying Dr. Bryant.
You can't say that about Dr. Bryant.
Right.
You don't know which way she's going to vote.
We know, right?
We don't know. There's many different options.
But what we're saying, the only two options that Dr. Bryant is going to do. Option number one is to vote for Joe Biden. Or option number two, don't vote at all. Right? But the fact of the matter is, there are a lot of things happening in America that is affecting the vote and what is happening.
Right.
what is going to happen with Donald Trump, right? What is going to happen with Joe Biden? What's going to happen with Nikki Haley, right? Right?
Next week, hold on. The person who said need to talk live, maybe next week will be.
Next week we'll be in the studio. Unfortunately, I am in the hospital, and our other two are not available. But next week we probably should be in the studio. At least one of us, two of us, will be in the studio so you can call in. I believe you could call 646-504-5778. Hopefully we could have good reception. Again, that's 646.
Tonight, you talking about?
Yeah, tonight. 646-504. Let me put that in there. 646-504-5778. Right? The reality of the situation is that Donald Trump consumes the media. Right now, as we speak, there's an issue with whether or not he's in the media because he can't pay the 880. I mean, not the 800, but the 83.3 million. So he's going to be forced to pay that. He has to take out $100 million bond to be able to do that, right? He's stuck with the immunity case in Georgia. I mean, not Georgia, in Florida with what's his name, Jack Smith. Those are real issues as voters are looking at. Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate that. Right. Continue praying for me.
Jennifer, what's up?
Right.
This for you, John.
And Joe Biden today with this, what is he going to say for the State of the Union address? Like, that's going to look like? America needs to know what is truly happening. What is truly happening to our leadership, right? Our next leadership and our current leadership. That's a fact. So you might not be interested, but the majority of Americans are, especially people who have not made up their minds on what it is that they want to do.
A lot of people tend to forget. That's the problem that America.
Forget what?
They forget that in the beginning of Joe Biden's term, hey, when the election took place or whatever, it was at the height of the pandemic, right after. So certain things happen. Certain things he promised, he put in place. And where John mentioned that people tend to forget that, hey, Donald Trump was against Muslim, against a couple other people. People forget that, different racist terminology, different ways that people were treated, cruel things overall, from Chinese to, it was just wrong. Like a big bully throughout. And people tend to forget that. They laugh at certain things that he did overall, but he was an embarrassment all around the world.
So one of the things that we have to get clear. Americans deal with short-term memory, not long-term memory, right? It's what have you done for me lately, right? What have you done for me lately? They forgot about COVID.
No, I can't say that when it comes to America.
Oh no, when it comes to voting, it's 100% short-term memory.
When I can say, it's most of the times, if you look at it, those who have short-term memories are.
That's a good point, Jennifer.
What is
going to say to drive me to the polls? That's important.
What's going to drive me to the polls?
Right. What's going to drive me to the polls? And right now, nothing is. Donald Trump has said zero things on policies because he's fine. So now it's up to.
But he's his policy is going back to, isolationism for United States, nativism. We got to there's nothing wrong with taking care of our home, but our home is comprised of many different ethnic groups. So all the ethnic groups need to be included in that. just not the natives. And if we're talking about the natives, the Indians were the true natives.
And you know, that's, to me, that's a real issue. It that we have to look at in America, like what really is going on in America. um
Are you calling somebody, Roger?
I was calling Hellraiser, but if I tried once, if I fail, I'll hang up and he could call the number. um
All right, and your thing is very low, so
no, I'll turn it up, right? But we'll just wait and I'll put it next to the computer and there's no answer. So at the end of the day, the component of Joe Biden and Donald Trump are important, but but you're right. We're not going to spend the whole show talking about Donald Trump and Joe Biden, but that's not what we're going to do. But it is important.
Mhm.
The State of the Union today that is going to happen. Uh, the State of the Union is important. People need to watch it, whether you're Democrat or Republican, whether you're independent, moderate, or somewhere libertarian or whatever party affiliation. You
Well,
need to.
just watch it. It's just to know. It's just good to know about our history, what's
Yeah.
going on in the world. That's what it is. That's
You
all it is. Just let's just be. Let's just what. Let's gain all the knowledge that we can to see what's going on. And we're
Mhm.
not here to judge. We're just here to take the information, take what take what is needed, what's important, and that's it.
you know
It's
what? I'm
just.
I'm gonna give it to Nikki Haley. She stuck out up until the very end. So,
Mhm.
I give it
Yeah,
to
but
her.
that's the same woman who don't believe America isn't racist. So I can't get behind Nikki Haley because she's
Listen,
another one. She's another one who has no convictions. I can't get behind. At least Trump got his convictions. You know what I'm saying? One thing a lot of people can say, Trump said what he's going to do, and he did it. He doesn't waffle. Unlike us, we waffle every time we say we're going to do something.
Ingrid just wrote something. Brathwaite. Hi,
I'm
Dan.
gonna step. Um, I'm gonna step off for a little bit. I'll be back on in a minute.
She wrote that the topic is great. However, I think America is at worst place in politics. I can't see anyone in their right mind would vote for Donald Trump. He is revengeful and very out of touch with reality.
Hmm.
That's true, 100%. But guess what? There's a lot of people who would vote for him. So that's the sad truth. But moving right along, what are your thoughts about the search happening at the train stations?
You know what? It comes to the point in time now. You know what? We got to do what we have to do. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we have enjoyed. You know what? In order to enjoy our freedom, there has to be certain sacrifices.
Mm-hmm.
Not only to enjoy our freedom, but for us to be safe, there have to be certain sacrifices.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what has to happen until we can pretty much police ourselves, which we can't. Um, we need law enforcement. That's what law enforcement is there for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm all
So
for it.
I'm all for it. I'm tired of and I was just watching this morning. I was watching Fox on Channel 5. Well,
Mm-hmm.
there's one woman while the gentleman was playing, I think the violin or the in the subway. This woman just picked up a bottle and cracked him in the back of the head with it. Then
This
she got
woman,
arrested. Then she got
this.
released,
Mm-hmm.
and then a couple of weeks later, she got arrested again for shoplifting. You know, this
It
this repeat
bail reform
offense.
goes back to bail reform.
Yeah.
It goes right back to the bail reform. Exactly. But it's interesting how um this afternoon I was listening to Kathy Hochul that mentioned that the judges need to be retrained. But
Hmm.
I don't know if it's a thin line between judges need to be retrained to their decision about how the law was written.
Right.
So if you're saying that unless it's a flight risk, then you should give bail. So and a couple of people, a couple of former judges mentioned that she needs to go and revisit the law that she put in place. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts about retraining, you know,
No,
we can
the
always.
reform, the bail reform.
I think that there needs to be where we can make some minor adjustments here. I would agree with that. Yes.
That is true. Do you blame the judges for making the decision and letting people out? What's going on with my two? Well, listeners, I guess you're going to have to join me. What do you think? Do you think that it is the judges' fault that they are making the decisions the way that they are? Or is it something based on the bail reform? So put it in the chat and let me know your thoughts. Let me know. Let me know. My two wonderful All right, let's see. No, it is not that's correct, Jennifer. I agree with you. I agree with you. Thank you. I agree with you wholeheartedly that, hey, you're being asked to make decisions, but your hands are tied. So how do you do both? Either you go one way or you go another way. And what are your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, in regards to the search? Let us know.
Yeah, sorry, I left you there for a second. I think it's necessary at this point in time. It's just and it's interesting because we want to say that crime is increasing in the subway because they look at all these incidents, and people just think about these, but crime overall has ticked down in the subway, but these incidents just create such a these incidents create such hysteria, and as a result, people, it magnifies.
Yeah.
So people just don't feel safe.
2 years ago, actually, at the end of de Blasio, the beginning of Eric Adams' administration, during that time, they were pushing people constantly. I think people forgot. They were pushing people on the train tracks left and right. Like every day, there was at least 2 or 3 people being pushed over the train tracks. So there's been a pause and like a sense of calmness months later, which I know it's more than just having police there or whatever. Presence is good. People are just more aware. But now going back to a couple other individuals who they know, some of them who they are that's committing these offenses, but if they could get away, then so be it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the whole system from the criminal justice system. It's just the economic system, just society at large, giving people the opportunities to earn a living and to divert themselves from engaging in any criminal. It's really a holistic approach that we really have to, but we want immediate dents into this. And I think by having the additional police in the subway, the National Guard and additional officers, it helps to deter. And also those searches, it helps to deter people. It makes people think twice now. If I'm going to walk on the subway with, I'm going to go on the subway with a gun, there's a possibility I can be stopped.
They arrested a couple of individuals.
Yeah,
Actually found a
and
couple.
and also I think they ought to just increase in the penalties for those who are in possession of firearms. I
Yeah.
believe they need to increase those penalties. It's just interesting with the feds. If you get a certain amount of, they have these mandatory minimums in the feds, and I think we might think about these mandatory minimums when it comes to even in state now. These mandatory minimums, if you're possessing a firearm with, people have to understand there's consequences for their act. Oh, and also I think we talked about the incident with, I was very happy to see, and one thing I commend the mayor, and the reason I commend the mayor is when crime is committed, when
Mhm,
incidents and people are assaulted, killed, or whatever it is,
mhm.
his turnaround time to capture individuals involved in that crime is really astonishing. You
Yeah,
know, I
I
talk
can give that to
I
him.
talk about the incident where in East Flatbush on Clarendon and Clarendon and Schenectady, in which the young man who owned the laundromat was shot and killed in the laundromat, and they stole his chain. It comes to find out that was last year, 5 6 months, about 5 months later,
Mhm.
a couple of months later, five individuals were arrested for the murder. And what's interesting is one of his own cousin was the one who plotted and planned
Oh boy.
this.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Um,
Hmm.
I just want to thank people who are writing, and I don't want to not recognize. I do think bail reform is an issue and can be reviewed for areas of improvement. People need what they need to stay safe, but does that mean we target a community and over police it? I don't think it's over police because there was a young lady that made a comment yesterday on her way in the subway to say that it's not over police. She was saying that it's a target on black folks. No, I want people to be as irate when blacks are attacking blacks, the same way as it's not stereotyping or just saying it's just one race that they're going to check. No, it's whoever's coming in, white, black, purple, orange, whatever you are, they're going to check you because crime has no color. To be honest with you, when you die, there's nothing that they can do about it. Let me go back. A lot of comments. Thank you so much for the comments. I'm trying to keep up. All right. Have we looked
What? Well,
at other countries that have lower crime rates to see what they are implementing? Mental health is a huge issue, but we can't assess it holistically if hands are tied and resources. That's true.
no, we can give the resources, we can open up our hands, we can embrace everybody. But one thing we have to one thing we have to come to grips with is that when you look at the crime that's being committed, a lot of it's very unfortunate. It's black on black uh, crime.
Mm-hmm. 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 That's
Although there's other ethnic groups that do commit crime, I agree. But if you look at it's we always, unfortunately, always engage into some sort of criminal activity. It does not mean that you know it's basically people go based upon the stereotypes. Who's performing the most criminal activities and getting into it? It's unfortunately it's us. It's very unfortunate.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And even it may not even be us, but that's the stereotype that exists. That's the perception, and the perception is reality to a lot of people.
That is true. That is true. So I'm going to continue to read some of the comments. Thank you so much for for just writing in, communicating with us this way. Thank you so much. Let me go with Karen. There are no policies, mandates, health, and medical plan for the mental health community to have a quality life. There is still not enough being done for the disabled community. Long-term health.
She's
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
That's true.
And shutting down hospitals and resources doesn't help the situation either. I totally agree with you on the subway decision. And I'm very sure that people will be able to ride the train and feel safe. Now I'm wondering, are they pushing now, searching because they want to push more the congestion pricing because they want people on the train? Could that
Of
be?
course. I think they definitely want more people on the train, instead of using their vehicles and creating
But what is
a.
this obsession about getting people to get off their vehicles and use? Is it for
I guess
money?
more. It's a more of an environmental issue. It's more of a just the steady flow of traffic that needs to exist because it's incredible to go from the east side to the west side. That can literally take you a half an hour, and half an hour to go
But it's
from
the
one
same
side
way. Wait,
of
wait, wait. Brooklyn is the same way. Queens is the same way. The Van Wyck is ridiculous.
the
So if
Van
we're
Wyck, the
talking about
Cooper's Bronx, the BQE. They're
exactly,
all.
if they're talking about
So
congestion,
that's why, because you got everybody driving. You get them off driving, you won't have that congestion, or you won't have that congestion that exists. You'll have it, but not to the extent it is now.
no, but they spend all this money fixing up the road to say, hey, you could try this way and that way. So why spend all this money on lanes and Van Wyck for years and years and years and years and nothing's happening? Like the train from one end, the express train from one end to what is that train called? People aren't using it. How they
The
anticipating?
train to the plane. The train to the plane.
Yeah, they're not using it like that. All that money was, what did they do? I don't see people rushing on that train to get to the plane. That money could have been used for something more useful.
Yeah, Doc. Hindsight is 2020. So we have been dealt this hand. What we need to do, as we learn from our pastor, Pastor Bernard, out of every crisis situation, there's an opportunity, but you can't be fearful to engage in that opportunity that presents itself.
Mm-hmm.
Ways in which, not about monetizing it, but ways in which we can uplift the moral and the spiritual compass of people. That's what we need to do so people can start judging one another. Stop judging one another, because we know what is right and what is wrong, and just be good stewards, and don't get caught up with the noise. Don't listen to the noise out there that is pulling you in different directions. Stay focused. As we talk tonight, former President Trump, his goal is to keep you distracted. So you stay out of focus. And that focus is, how can we elect someone who's going to be open-minded enough to listen to us, to possibly effectuate policies that impact our lives? And it's
But
not
guess
so much
what?
about. Go ahead, Doc.
You also need to have not only the president, the people who are surrounding. So that
Mhm.
local government is important as well. People are
100%.
electing clowns to different positions, and then you're stuck because he might want to do 1,000,001 thing, but guess what? His hands are tied. They're gonna vote it down. So wrong individuals are going into public arenas and running for hey, I want to be in charge. I want to be in charge. I want to be in charge. And when you are in charge, you're not doing anything. You're actually making it worse.
Yeah.
So it,
Mhm.
it, it is important that we actually push people who actually are leaders in the community to go and run. People who are making a difference day to day, not just, hey, I want, to stack whatever. I want the publicity and I'm going to shut down the agenda. No. So that's so important. Oh, you're back.
I'm not back for long, right? I'm not back for long, but oops, I'm fading in and out. But I wanted to address this comment. Go back to
Which
Stargirl's comment.
Star Girl? Okay.
Yeah, I was just on today with a conversation because the laundromat person was in what the laundromat person is in the community which I represent.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say that those five individuals,
It's a shame.
individuals who were responsible for his murder,
Mm-hmm.
um, for whatever the reasons were to come in and shoot him and kill him,
Mm-hmm.
they, I hope that they squeal on each other,
Mm-hmm.
and I hope that the person that pulled the trigger, the person that provided the gun, that they will get a full life sentence, full life, because you can't, we can't in our community, and that's one of the things that I was talking to one of my friends last night. We can't continue within our community to continue to take um, our our community's lives,
Mm-hmm.
our people's lives,
Mm-hmm.
right? We can't continue to kill the next black man and
Yeah.
keep blaming everybody else. I've said this numerous times that we are responsible for the most murders in the United States. Blacks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even talking about percentage wise, I'm talking about a raw number.
Mm-hmm.
We're not the most people in jail. We're the highest percentage per race that's in jail. We're not number one. Whites are number one who are in jail, but not in reference to the population that is there. But blacks are number one. And again, not numerically. One of the conversations that I have with people all the time is there are two ways to look at it. There's social justice in saying that we need to fix the jail system and fix the sentences, right?
Mm-hmm.
You give a black man, a black and brown person, male versus females, white versus black, Indian versus Chinese,
Mm-hmm.
who gets the higher and greater sentence? That's social justice. Is hey, if both of us commit murder, if it's murder one, murder two, we're gonna get the same time,
Mm-hmm.
right? Across the board. That's social justice. Let's make everything fair. But there's another component to say that why are you here? You're in front of the system that's going to be unfair to you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you have two components. So if we're committing murders, which we are at the highest level, if we're committing, we commit what we call crime of passion, right? Crime of passion, crime of passion, crime of
Crime of passion. When you say that, that's more like a
crime
relationship.
of passion means basically I'm going to do something because one, it's convenient, and two, I feel disrespected, right? If so,
I wouldn't call that passion.
it is passion. If you think about it, I'm going to hurt you because you disrespected me. What is that?
That's not passion.
What is that? Tell me what it is.
It's
Your
more
doctor.
revenge. It's more revenge.
No. So what is revenge? Revenge is what? Revenge is passion. It's emotion.
Emotion, but
Yeah,
passion.
but that's passion.
Okay.
Passion is an emotion. Let's just be clear,
Okay.
right? Whereas you have other crimes of convenience, right?
That's what I'm thinking. Like the gang
But you
crimes.
have that too, right?
Yeah, that's more
Right. But
convenience
that's
crime.
not the point of what I'm making. Like you go in and you take the life of this laundromat person,
Mm-hmm.
right? You go in and you take the life of the laundromat person. Then you expect when you go to the court system that the court system, most of the time we can't afford lawyers at the highest level because it's not necessarily about white or black with lawyers or justice system. It's about money, right? So most things that happens about money. If I can afford a great lawyer,
Mm-hmm.
in most cases, not all, but in most cases, if I can afford a lawyer that can represent me, the likelihood of my sentencing is not going to be as great as somebody who uses a public defender,
Mm-hmm.
right? These people go in and take this guy's life. You face the court system and say the court system is unfair. They gave me life in prison. Why did you take the person's life to begin with?
Exactly.
So you're presenting yourself in front of the judge. You're presenting yourself in front of a judge that's going to be unfair to you.
That
And then you're
pity.
going to complain.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make sense, right? You can't commit a crime and then, I mean, I'm not talking about petty crimes. I'm not talking about, breaking a car window. I'm talking about felonies. We're talking about first-degree murder, second-degree murder, manslaughter. You drink your ass off, get drunk, and kill somebody. And now you're at the mercy of the court and go social justice, right? Okay, and we could also be clear that there are. I'm not saying that there aren't injustices in the system, but what I'm trying to avoid is you get in front of the system. So that's one. So as I look at this laundromat person that was killed in my district, and the outcry, I had another person where I play dominoes,
Mm-hmm.
and I go hang out, and I play dominoes. I don't
Mhm.
walk in with a gun. But somebody comes in and try to rob and steal, just like what happened on Clarkson Avenue,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where they came in, they robbed, and they shot somebody and killed. They shot 4 people, and
That's what I was saying. I know I was talking about crime of passion is from domestic violence. That's
no, no,
yes, it's more
that's-
relationship wise.
no,
That's what you
no. Crime of passion is domestic violence is a form of crime of passion, right? It is a form of crime of passion, right? I'm going to take an action on you because you did something to me is a crime, or somebody did it to me, I'm going to do it to you. It's a crime of passion. What's not a crime of passion is on Wall Street, for example. I'm on Wall Street and I'm going to skim money off the top. Like a Bernie, what's his name? Bernie, whatever his name was. Madoff. That's not a crime of passion, right? He took the money from people in a Ponzi scheme. If somebody does something to me and I do it back to somebody else, it's an emotional. Once there's emotion involved in it, it's a crime of passion. That's what makes it a crime of passion. A form of crime of passion is domestic violence. Abuse is a form of passion, right? So we have to know what our terms are. I'm not saying that every crime committed by a black and brown person is a crime of passion, or every crime committed by a European American person is a crime of passion, because that's stupid. That's a stupid comment. But the realization, most murders, most people who are raped, pedophile, most, not all, most rape, pedophile, and murder are done by people that you know. Almost, I would say, if I were to make a guess, I would say close to 90%. It's very rare when you have a random killing, a random rape, a random murder. Most people don't walk on the street and get pulled off and get raped. You go on a date with somebody and they rape you. That's a crime of passion. A crime of passion, that's a crime of passion, because it's now become, and I know you. I've seen you before. I've watched you. Right?
So,
pedophilia is a crime of generally.
Thank you, Rhea and Dr. Butterfly. In criminal law, a crime of passion is a crime. Oh, John is back. Is a crime in the heat of passion or in response to provocation, as opposed to a crime that was premeditated or deliberate.
Right. So the heat of, if you do something to me, if John does something to me, and I'm pissed off at John, right?
Then that's premeditated if you're actually trying
to listen to what I'm saying.
Okay.
Listen to a definition. If John does something to me, or the opposite, and I am pissed off at John, and I said, I am going to hurt John, what is that? And I take out a gun, or John takes a gun and shoot me, what is that?
A response to it?
Premeditated. You're thinking about it before you do it.
Is it not a crime of passion? It might be premeditated, but it's still a crime of passion.
That's correct.
Once there's some emotional involvement, is a crime of passion. Period. It could be premeditated, deliberate, or whatever the conversation, whatever in between is. A crime of convenience is I see your pocketbook right there. I don't know you, and I pick it up and I walk off with it. I have no connection with you.
Look at that.
Right?
I said not a crime of passion.
Or Mr.
No.
So anyway, that's also it's not important for what we discussed, whether it's crime of passion or crime of convenience, right?
Okay.
The fact is we have to learn to like we rile up when police kill one of us. When
Right.
police hurt one of us, we rile up, we go crazy, like, oh, the police do this. And the police has killed unjustly, have killed less than 1% of all of the murders that we have done to ourselves. And again, that's not excusing the police action. It's not. But what I'm saying is that we ourselves need to govern ourselves and stop killing each other.
Okay. So
whether it's a crime of passion or whether it's a crime of convenience or whatever you want to label it as, we have to stop. Just like in the laundromat, just like at Clarkson Avenue, just like when you walk down the street and somebody, they try to rob you and then kill you. Okay, if you want to rob me, it's one thing, but then you turn around and kill me. Either way, we need to stop because we're the one committing the crimes against each other at a massive scale than others. That's the point I'm making, right? That's all the point is I'm making. I'm not saying that they aren't crimes of other races or other things, but we are creating the greater damage to ourselves.
Well, Roger, you know what? Let me just tell you this.
I'm going to get off the ear. John, I'm listening off the ear for a minute, right? But I'm listening to you.
I mean, is that true? I mean, like some of these economic crimes that happen, like everybody talks about, what annoys me is Trump's enablers talk about how this was a victimless crime. Where's the victims? The bank made the money. Everybody made the money. They got paid the money. The point is that he was able to manipulate his financial situation to put him in a position to make money. But the bank could have made more money, and that additional money could have been used for other things to, provide other loans to people. They keep talking about victimless crimes. Economic crimes
if
are
it
not
was
victimless.
somebody else, it would not have been a victim of crime.
Well, we know that. We know that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's not the same thing at all. So that's the sad thing about it.
That is true.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, for example, I'm thinking about Roger was talking about crimes of passion. The people who they started to find body parts, would you consider that crime of passion? In Long Island, where they're finding an arm here, a leg here, and then those 5 or
No, not necessarily. No, you can't. Some people who engage into
and they found the body part.
desecrating a corpse or cutting up people. It's not a crime of passion. Some people are just sadistic. Some people are just sadistic. It has nothing to do with the passion. Some people are just insane to the point where they get gratification
Or for hurting
in
others.
doing something like that from hurting others. Yeah.
But then they took them to court, but they allowed them to leave. That bail reform.
No, but that's interesting. They found the body parts, but the question is was the body parts associated to a crime in which they were involved in? You have to look at that.
Here's the thing. They said in their homes, they found the blood, the knives, some other body parts there too. So how are they not guilty, first of all?
Doc, it's not even being guilty.
We're not assuming anything. Let me go
But
back.
you did just say, how do people not guilty? Go ahead.
Okay. So how it's just interesting to me because these were white folks that they let out, 4 or 5 different individual white folks. If the same, different rules for different folks.
We know that, but this is what when Donald Trump talks about the criminal justice system and the way he's treated and mistreated or whatever it is, we've been talking about this for decades. And this is another example. Nikki Haley says this is another example where you look at if there was a people of color who engaged into the same thing that these people did, would they have gotten bail or would they bail? Pretty much. I'm assuming they got bail. They didn't get released in their own recognizance. So we know that it exists. The only way
they were released on their own recognizance.
If they were released on a usually in situations, I think that was in the city, they would have gotten monetary
That was
bail.
in Long Island. That's why they called out the governor to look at the bail reform again.
I agree.
So that's a problem. No sympathy for the banks that gave the loans. They investigated blacks for $5,000 loan, but not someone asking for millions. They are also part of the problem. Redlining was a bank involved issue. That is true. 100%. 100%.
A virtue. Look at Navy Credit
Union
with suing that bank for discriminating against African Americans who were seeking loans.
Bank of America is infamous for that.
I wasn't Bank of America. We're talking Navy. Oh yeah, Bank of America. Yes.
Yes. Let me tell you, I learned at a young age how racist they were.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So when you have, as a, that's why I could never bank with them. When you are young, when you grow up from a West Indian family, they want you to look proper wherever you go. That's one thing we can pride ourselves with. Growing up back in the days, your parents won't allow you to go out looking like any old Joe Schmo. But here it is. My first internship was with Bank of America, where I was being followed around until asked if the clothes I was wearing, did I steal it? So,
hey Doc, did you?
let me tell you, my parents anywhere going to a supermarket with a suit is part of their, everywhere they go, it has to be a suit. So here it is. You grew up with strict Haitian parents, you gotta, it don't matter if you're going to a basketball game, you're gonna have your suit and tie. But at the end of the day, having someone, you go to a store to get food, to sit down, and for an individual to sit in front of you to say, hey, we want to make sure you're not stealing the salt and pepper shaker. How does that make you feel? As a teenager, it leaves an impression on you, of course.
True.
And the nice thing, I told them, take the job and shove it, because no one needs to be treated like that. Then to later learn, all Black students that actually did their internship were being harassed.
Wow.
Racially profiled, right?
Wow.
So it was infamous for that. But anyone who was of Hispanic background didn't have the same issue. So, or white did not. So it's a sad thing that you learn at a young age how your color impact how people see you, how they treat you.
But according to Nikki Haley, there's no racism in America. That's one I couldn't, I couldn't vote for.
It's not just Nikki, John. It's Donald Trump too.
Donald Trump feels the same way.
It's Texas. It's
oh, please. What's his name? The one in Florida. Oh, it's Ron DeSantis.
Around the centers.
Oh my goodness. Ron DeSantis, the one I don't know. We have a bunch of individuals who don't believe that
You,
racism
you know,
exists.
you know what part of the issue with racism is if you're not in the capacity
Hmm.
to feel the racism,
Right.
then you don't believe that it exists.
Hmm. Hmm.
True.
And so you have to come to the understanding that I'm telling you that racism exists.
Hmm.
Right.
And you can't tell me that it doesn't. Right? That's where the problem comes in America. They need to tell me what is really happening around us and to us. Right?
You know, I smile at that because um, when you have folks who never lived a day in your skin tell you what diversity is or what diversity is not, or how
Right.
you should react, or how you should, oh no, that doesn't happen, or whatever. And constantly you have to remind them, uh, I'm black and you're white, so your reality and my reality are totally different. I'm a female.
I think I
Yeah.
disagree with that statement.
No, I'm very serious
No,
about that.
I'm going to tell you why I disagree with that statement.
Go ahead, explain. And I know why I said what I
No,
said.
I, in some ways, I agree with you,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if you are directly involved in social justice,
Mm-hmm.
you can see it. Like if you sat in the courtroom and you're taking notes,
Mm-hmm.
and you might not be able to feel the same way I feel,
Mm-hmm.
but you can recognize of its existence.
But a lot of
Make
people are
wait,
saying
wait, I'm
no.
just saying a lot of people are not doing that though. You're not sitting down and recognize. But I
Mm-hmm.
could sit in the courtroom and say, hey, Roderick got 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Bryant got 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the white counterpart got 5 years. So I could say, and that kept going for black males versus females versus white males, and then white females getting less time, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can make a note and say, hey, there are issues in our justice system
Mm-hmm.
that is clearly racially motivated, right? Because I have the proof. I might not be able to feel it, but I can recognize it.
Mhm.
You, on the other hand, don't necessarily have to sit in the courtroom,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you live it. You get pulled over. You don't have to do study, right? You don't have to do a study to see it, right? The study makes a difference, right? Because you have the data points to prove whatever you're proving.
Who's
But
doing the study?
well, that's what I'm saying to you. So that's what
Mhm.
I'm saying. Like, I don't necessarily agree with you, right? I don't necessarily agree. You might not have to do it. When I was younger, I got pulled over a shitload because I had expensive cars.
Mhm.
I started
So
having
far.
nice. I
Mhm.
started buying my own nice cars from the time I was 26.
Mhm.
Right. My first nice car was a 1992 Diamante. The second nice one was a 97 Diamante, and I kept getting pulled over left and right, left and right. Right.
Mhm.
So, in order for a white person or European American person to recognize that, when we say that we get pulled over as young people, right, more abundantly, right, more abundantly, they have to sit there and sit on the side and watch and say, you know what? Why are they pulling over so many blacks versus pulling over this and pulling over that?
You have
But
to experience it.
right, and so they can get up on television and say, you know, there are injustices that are happening and discrepancies that are happening within our system. Two, they could talk to us. They could talk to us and make note. Right, you understanding white privilege. Right, they could walk with us in the store, and we could go. Two of us can go two separate ways in a great store, and see, observe the black man being followed. Observe that I'm not being followed.
Mhm.
You know, you can learn through what is called. So
Clarence Thomas don't believe in that.
there are two ways of learning, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's inductive reasoning and intrinsic learning,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're both, right? So a person who's not going through can learn through inductive reasoning, seeing it happening, understanding it, and growing from there. And the intrinsic reasoning, I feel it, I know it, I live it every day, right? So you have those two components that can happen. Rhea writes, racism doesn't exist because all my friends are black, or all my housekeepers are gainfully employed. They employ 2 vacation days a year, two vacation weeks a year, and get leftovers after my dinner. Right, exactly. And that, I mean, and they're not complaining. You forgot that they're not complaining, Aria. You forgot that part about they're not complaining, right? So, and you know, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm saying, Dr. Butterfly, that the data matters,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you're having these conversations, data matters. Trump is not black people play
He said it.
right? You're funny.
He did say it. He said black folks love him because he actually.
Mhm. You know, somebody asked, I don't know how true or false it is because I don't know the answer. But in his 4 years, what did Trump do for the black race? Right? Somebody asked that question. I don't remember who that question came from or where it came from. But I was thinking about it and I couldn't think of something.
Well, you know, I honestly, I could say one thing that Donald Trump did was he did push through the First Step Act, which helped a lot of those who are incarcerated in the federal system. They were given, they were released early, and also providing programs give additional credit to allow people to leave early. He did the HBCU. He gave us additional millions for those institutions. However, the legislation Biden and Kamala Harris are pushing, it gave billions of dollars to him.
You know, but I spoke earlier in the show that there are more European Americans in jail, right? So when you're looking at that First Step Act, you know, unless it was pretty much earmarked to black and brown,
It helped. It helped people, Roger.
it helped people.
Black. It helped. Yes, it did.
It helped criminals, right? It helped people who, let me not use the word criminal, people who are incarcerated,
Correct.
right? Who are incarcerated. It helped them, but it didn't help one particular race of people.
No, but he was able to push that legislation through. Unfortunately, during Obama's term, no. And also, what I give credit to is to Donald Trump. He does not follow the norm.
Yeah, I do like that.
I look at the Alice, the one that he commuted a sentence or whatever it is. They sent the petition to Obama's DOJ. They denied it, you know, because they were worried about the optics and stuff like that. What I can say about former President Trump is,
you know, John, we have to give him credit for that, right? We do have to give Donald
you
Trump.
know, what I give him credit for, he does not bind himself to the system. He's willing to divert away from the norms to get the results that he wants, and he's not afraid. He's not going to let the media and everybody dictate to his move, dictate how he moves. It's unfortunate, but we do. You know, the media sets the agenda for the elected officials, but for former President Donald Trump, he sets the agenda for the media.
Yeah.
The whole issue of fake news. He created that whole issue of fake news.
Yes, he did. And people were, and Fox was digging it up, ended up costing them $787 million.
Yep.
You know, $787 million. And thing. There's something I wanted to talk about. Andre, can we go to commercial for a minute? Andre? There's something that I wanted to talk about. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Footprints Cafes now offers Caribbean flatbreads, available in 11 mouthwatering flavors, including favorites like jerk chicken, curry chicken, honey garlic chicken or shrimp, ackee and saltfish, garlic cheese, and more. our flatbreads are satisfying and can be enjoyed by the entire family. So make it a flatbread night at Footprints and enjoy the fusion of flavors. These flatbreads are so good, you might just have to fight for that last piece. Good thing there's plenty more where that came from. Get yours today from any of our Footprints locations. Want to enjoy your flatbread at home? Then order on Uber Eats and get it delivered right to your door. We'll see you there.
Call Howard Housing Solution today for all your real estate needs. Sellers, we can get top dollar for your home, and our vast network of professionals can facilitate your move and help you purchase your dream home in another state. Buyers, we have a pulse on the market and can get you in a home quickly. Property owners, we can manage your property efficiently and allow you peace of mind. So why wait? Call Howard Housing Solutions today at 646-825-5560 for your sale, purchase, or property management needs. Conveniently located in East New York, Brooklyn. You can come to us at 577 New Lots Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, or we can visit in the comfort of your home. Call Howard's Housing Solutions today at 646-825-5560. Howard Housing Solutions. Real estate simplified.
Want to get your personal income tax, business corporate tax, self-employment tax, quarterly tax, payroll tax, or sales tax filing done professionally?
Yeah.
Call U.S. Bear LLC 718-676-0519 and take the worry out of your personal and business life. Tax compliance issues should be left to the pros. So when you want your business to grow, call the pros because a successful business matters. U.S. Bear LLC also handles accounting, bookkeeping, business startups, consultation, real estate, and many more services. Call U.S. Bear LLC 718-676-0519 and ask for Howard DaCosta, CEO, to book a 1-hour evaluation at no cost to you. Take remote control of all your needs and U.S. Bear LLC will follow your lead. Want to work but don't have a social security number? Yes! Find out about getting a tax ID to pay your taxes. Call U.S. Bear LLC or log on to www.usbear.com. Team up for success.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Just want to say that the Grace Family Adult Social Daycare will be opening up for, if you have an adult, please have them come out and see what's happening. 1330 Utica Avenue, Brooklyn, New York. Right? So it's you know, one of the things I want to, before I move on, is that, ladies and gentlemen, we need to support our sponsors, because that keeps the program going and help our program running. Good evening, everyone. Glad to see my nephew and to hear his voice. This is Auntie Mavis. He's really
Reality.
This is a reality. When I came in this country, I took my daughter to school to be registered, and a white teacher told me that they were not in my daughter. They're not my daughter because they're too light for me. Until I bring their right parents, they will not be admitted in the school. I have to call my brother, who was a police officer, and immediately she was dismissed from the school because I told her I was going to sue her. You know, yes, and that's an implicit bias, right? That's an implicit bias on Mavis immediately, and that does happen, right? So the truth of the matter is, racism does exist, and I think that's what we're talking about. But the will of the people, right? The will of the people will overcome many obstacles, right? So today's show is about the will, right? What the will of the village. And what is the will that we have, right? So one of the wills that I want to go back to is our power to vote, right? Mm-hmm. You voting in unity, right? And forget about the presidential election. You vote for your conscience, but don't say I'm not voting. Vote your conscience. If you want to vote for Donald Trump, vote for Donald Trump. If you want to vote for Joe Biden, vote for Joe Biden. But vote. Stop saying I'm not going to vote for this person, because I vote for the person who you normally would support and you don't vote for that person, is a vote for the next person. So get your vote up. The second wheel of the village that I want to discuss, John and Joe, and we can continue the dialogue, is our own destruction of each other. Our own destruction of each other, right? That's what are we doing and saying to change that destruction? What are we doing? We go. I walk into our, because remember, our communities in New York City are segregated. Blacks live in their own community, Chinese live in their own community, whites live in their own community. Nowadays, you'll see a spackle of gentrification, right? But economically, you have an exodus, right, of individuals. So the makeup of the communities are changing. Why do I live in an apartment building, and while I live in that apartment building, I'm graffitiing the apartment building? Why am I killing my neighbor in the apartment building, right? Right. But again, Janice, going back, again, you have the less of.
What's up, cousin Lester, Mr. Lester? What's
Janice,
going on?
The one thing I got to tell people, last week, and I'm changing my train of thoughts. Last week in Jamaica, there was a vote. I think that, and somebody can correct me who's Jamaican, I believe that there are 2.5 million voters, eligible voters in Jamaica. The people have an outcry of the JLP or the PNP. Less than 25% of the people voted. Whether you vote and the JLP return to office, so whether you're JLP or PNP, the JLP won the lower house. Whether you vote or not vote, Janice, somebody's going to be elected. And you're going to be governed
by somebody.
Whether you governed by Donald Trump or you governed by Joe Biden. So you have to make a decision what you want to do. Give me 1 minute, guys. I'll be right back. I'm sorry, I'm still in the hospital, so the doctors come and visit, and I have to do those meetings. So
well, Roger, 8:45. We're gonna end early today, so we can catch.
Yeah. I'll be back in less than that. I'll be back. Let me talk to the doctor for a minute.
So I do agree with Roderick that you have to pay attention to who it is you vote for, and pay attention to their motives, what they're able to do, their policy, what their focus is, because otherwise, and to see if going into power is about them or about the people. That matters, because as we watch around and we look at different countries around the world, we see that people are in leadership not for their people,
but for themselves. For themselves.
And unfortunately, people perish because of selfishness and the strife and the goal of wanting power. We go to war. Wanting power, we kill others. Wanting power, we allow our country to fall to the wayside or burn down just for power, to say that I'm in control. But being in control means that you have to take care of those. You're given power to take care of those who are underneath you, who you're supporting. As a leader, you're working for your people. And that's what people tend to forget. A leader works for those he's serving. He or she is serving. As a pastor, you're serving to your congregation. As an educator, you're serving your students. So I think that's where people need to shift their mindset. It's not people are working for you as you are the master and, hey, I'm king or whatever. No, that role of leadership is a role of servitude. And that's where the confusion lies.
Well
So,
put, Doc. Well put. Well
so
put.
as we look at other countries around the world, Nigeria having students who were kidnapped this week, Haiti who have jails, who the prime minister is not even in the country while
Mm,
the country is being burnt down.
mm.
So here it is. Who are we really serving?
Right, right.
Who and who don't care? So some decision that leaders are making
Hmm.
affect not only themselves, or in a rush for power, we destroy so many.
Yep,
So
correct.
it's important that as we go and we make decisions and we go and vote, think about, where is this leader heading? What is their focus? Is it about me, 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 me? Or is it about the community that they want to serve?
But
Right.
it's not just that though. That's very important, Dr. Bryant. Those are all good points, right? But we have to put in addition to which one of these persons are closer to my ideology. One of the things is I might vote one way, but I look at things that people don't look at. What are the charter revisions? What are the different things that can affect um, my community? Right? People fail to look at those little things. They're only voting for a person who's run for office.
Mm-hmm.
They don't look at the judges. Like you talk about we talked about a little bit earlier about social justice and social reform. They don't look at the judges.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The judges are not important, but then you complain of judge reform. You have to listen to these judges and see where they stand.
Mm-hmm.
The Supreme Court judges are all going to vote. The most cases go to the right, not to the left,
Right.
because most of the judges were appointed by the right, not
Mhm.
by the left.
Hmm.
So those things are important when you think about I'm not voting, right? You don't vote. There's several judges who in the next 4 years might be leaving,
Mhm.
right? And so if you decide not to vote, Donald Trump is going to be the first president who probably I'll be able to appoint like five Supreme Court justices, right?
Mhm.
Let's think about that. So if you appoint 5 for the next 20, 30 years, in the next 4 years, what's his name might be leaving. What's that guy's name? Clarence Thomas, right? That's one. Robert, I forgot Robert's last name, right? He might be leaving, right? You have these Supreme Court justices who are in the 70s, 80s who might be retiring. So if
Mhm.
you're not thinking about voting, you're not thinking about Roe versus Wade. You're not thinking about the Board of
You mean
Education.
Justice Roberts? You mean Justice Roberts?
Justice Roberts, right? Right? You
Then you got Judge Alito. You have Justice Alito.
yeah,
You have Clarence Thomas.
right.
You have Brett Kavanaugh.
Yeah,
You have,
but Brett is not going to go anywhere because he just got appointed,
Mhm.
right? Right. Brett. A few of them are not going anywhere, but Roberts might
well,
be.
Clarence Thomas needs to go somewhere.
Yeah, and Clarence Thomas needs to go, right? But the fact of the matter is, you're not thinking about what they're teaching our children in schools,
Mhm.
because the Supreme Court can uphold what is done or what's not done. If you're democratic, these things are important. What's happening in our court system and trickle down, what are constitutional, what are not, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Those things are important. So you're just not voting for the president of the United States. You're voting for the Supreme Court. You're voting for trickle down work
Laws
in
and
your own community.
Mhm.
And those things, just like the local judges, are important. Look at the ballot. You gotta listen. The village, it's about the will of the village. What is it? Your will,
Mhm.
right? What is your will that you're looking at when you look at the will of the village? You are the village. You're the
Mhm.
one making the decision. So I don't like Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, senseless Joe, right? We're not looking at
But I like Crooked Trump. I
huh?
like Crooked Trump.
Yeah, or crooked Trump. Like I like crooked Trump, right? Whatever your reasoning is, if you want to see more right-wing judges, then don't vote or vote for Donald Trump. If you want to see
You
more,
want your rights taken away, like affirmative action, and having universities actually close down a whole diversity department. So we're going
Vote
backwards.
for Trump.
vote
Vote.
for Trump, or don't vote at all. Remember, don't vote Republican, because some people are not going to vote Republican, but they might not vote, period, right?
Mhm.
So don't vote or vote for Trump, or the other way, right? If you believe in that there is a need for affirmative action, there is a need to help more people of color become more positive citizens, you know, then you do that. You look at immigration, you look at certain other issues. You do what you need to do, but not voting at all is a problem.
And you're on that note.
Yes. On that note, we're going to end. Right.
Tracy Bell.
Thank
Thank you to all our listeners who actually commented, who joined us in the conversation. We appreciate that all.
Yes, we do.
100%. Next week, Mr. Daly should be in the studio. Let's see.
Wait. I might not be in the studio because I think they're limiting my access to.
Okay, fair enough.
Well,
John and Andre will be in the studio next week, so it should not.
I will try to be in the studio for next week.
Oh,
right?
limiting your access.
No. I might try to be in the studio because will be only John, myself, and Andre.
Hey, we look
Right.
forward to next week.
Looking forward to
Villagers,
next
if you
week.
get a chance tonight, check out the State of the Union and tell us what you think about it on next Thursday.
Right.
So-
and thank you, Janice, for I like how you explain why I should vote. I'll vote for my village. Thanks. And that's what it's about, right? It's about. So thank you, all my listeners. Happy birthday again to Shanique and Lanique, who enjoyed their birthday.
Oh, I want to wish my niece Asia a happy birthday today.
All right. God bless.
God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen, please watch the State of the Union. You form your own opinion. And after that, listen to Donald Trump. You form your own opinion, right? You know, but the most important thing is this year, let's think about the will of the village. The will of the village becomes important. Thank you, each and every one of you. Thank you for watching, listening, sharing, participating on the village. Where it is about dedicating to our. I'm sorry.
Where we're
We are
educating.
dedicated to empowering our community to live a healthy, safe, and financially capable life through education, helping each one of us in realizing our dreams at any age, at any point, starting from today. So thank you. God bless each and every one of you. Please, and thank you everyone for the prayers. It continued to motivate me, continue to keep me up and running. I look forward to getting out tomorrow for a little bit, and looking forward to doing many, many things. God bless you. Have a great night.
God bless.
Good night. Bye.